Hey everybody. Oh, got my volume turned up here. We are talking about some active weather heading into the weekend. We've been giving you a heads up about the weekend chances for rain and wind. Well, now the Valley News Live First Alert Storm Team has raised a first alert weather day specifically for Sunday, but Saturday night into Sunday really is when we're looking out for the potential for some active weather. There's going to be a large storm that moves through the region that has the potential to impact us here in the Red River Valley and beyond. So we want to give you that heads up heading into a weekend. You might be traveling, running into some of this, and it could have some impacts on your plan. So let's talk first off about what we are first alerting you to specifically. So this is for Saturday night, probably late night Saturday night for most of us, heading into Sunday, throughout the day on Sunday, especially Sunday evening. Again, we're going to break down the timing coming up here, but we've got this powerful regional storm, one that is going to be a little more intense than some we've seen lately. It's going to include a lot of wind with it. The wind field's going to be pretty strong, and then on top of that, chances for precipitation to go with it. And if you were watching the Valley today this morning, you might have heard me mention that there is the potential for some cold enough air to work its way into the system that some places have a shot at seeing a few flakes. And when I say places, I don't necessarily mean here in the Valley, but in the region. So we're going to talk more about that coming up. So again, late Saturday night, we're looking out for windy weather and developing storms. Some models are bringing an isolated thunderstorm or two as early as the afternoon hours on Saturday, but especially into the overnight hours, we're watching out for that. That carries over into Sunday morning chance for rain, and then again into the evening hours, there might be a time where we get into a break on that, and high winds on Sunday. So regardless, we're dealing with wind both days essentially here. And then again, just that little star here, first few flakes of the season, possible, not a guarantee. And when I say flakes, I just mean, I'm not talking about accumulating snow, but first few flakes possible in northwest North Dakota. So we're talking the Williston area for Sunday night, but we're going to show you a model that shows it getting a little close for comfort for some of us here in the Valley coming up. So that's what we're going to break down for you here coming up for today. I'm just going to do a quick update on where we're at right now. We do have some wind out there today too, so the wind's starting to pick up more for us here these days. You can see the wind coming in out of the south or southeast. This is our view along the Dakota border at the Dakota Magic Casino. And temperatures on the rise. We've got a mix of some sun and then mostly cloudy skies. Fargo's at 63, so is Grand Forks. A quick look at our wind gusts. We are gusting up to near 30 miles per hour. We've got a gust of 29 in Fargo. Oaks is at 31 and a gust to 30 in Alexandria. So again, some blustery winds here as we continue on into the afternoon. Eventually that does ease up. You can see farther west where this is coming from, we are quieter. So this will come down, but it is on the breezy side leading up to that. So looking at our wind gust forecast, this lines up right with what I was just saying. We'll see those winds coming down heading into the afternoon. So by evening hours, the drive home, it may not be so bad heading into tonight, but your lunch break might be a bit blustery here as we look at wind turning from the south to the northwest with the cold front moving through. So here's a look at the latest radar and satellite map. No rain to show you here on the radar map, but we do have some clouds working their way through. And you can see some places, nice bright blue sky, clear skies. This is our black and white channel on our satellite. So where you see the black areas, that's where it's clear, and then the white and gray is cloud cover. We switch to this channel, especially during times where we really want to see that discernment between where the clouds are and where we've got clear skies. And so you can see this kind of drifting north and east. So Fargo may be under those clouds for a little bit longer until this kind of works its way eastward as we head into the afternoon. And other places in the valley, a similar situation too. And temperatures 60s to low 70s for highs today. We do have that wind again continuing, but starting to ease up into the afternoon. So that's a look at today. Let's get into what we're here to talk about here today, the potential for rain this weekend. So looking at today, tomorrow, and our chance for precip, not looking very impressive with our chances. That graph showing nothing. But you can see once we get into Saturday, especially Saturday night, and then overnight hours especially, more widespread chances for rain, and heading into Sunday. And Sunday might get broken up, first part of the day and then later part of the day. And then it's not just this weekend. We also have another system into next week, moving into Tuesday night, Wednesday, and even into Thursday, the potential for another strong system that has the potential to bring some wind, and with that, the possibility for some precip to the valley as well. So getting more active here as we start the weekend off. So let's take a look at our hour by hour planner. One thing I want to remind you, we are looking at one specific, or in this case, two specific models and one specific run of each model. There are other models out there showing slightly different solutions, but this is what I want to show you as far as what we have for potential here with this system moving in. So that's what I want to stress is, you know, things can change from, you know, now until, you know, 12 hours from now. It might look a little bit different. So please check back with us as we get into the weekend. Even later this afternoon, Russ might come back up and show a different solution here with new models coming in for the afternoon. So keep that in mind as we're talking about this. You can see we've got Saturday morning. This is 7 a.m. starting off with mainly clear skies, pretty quiet. And I think if you got some plans, you want to get out and enjoy some fall conditions and fall events, I think the first half of the day, Saturday, is your best bet, where you're less likely to see rain, where you're less likely to experience some wind. Now heading into, this is 1 p.m., you can see some clouds starting to move in, and then here comes an isolated shot of rain and thunderstorms Saturday afternoon and into the early evening. And you can see they are isolated, a lot of places still on the dry side, but there may be one or two spots that get a storm, and you might be in one of those places that does. So one should be prepared for that, that possibility. But moving on into the late night, you can see it starts to fill in more with this area of rain and thunderstorm activity moving northward. So again, we're watching out for some thunderstorms on Saturday night, especially late night, with the potential for some, you know, where those storms fall, you know, good downpour, some lightning, maybe some wind associated with them as well. And then that continues to roll eastward overnight and into Sunday morning. So that's the reason why we mainly have our first alert weather day for Sunday, because most of Saturday will be relatively dry. We will see the wind start to pick up through the day, and the threat for storms is more into the evening and late night hours on Saturday night, and then carrying on here into Sunday. So Sunday morning, we've got some ongoing rain, especially along and east of the Red River. I switched to our longer duration model here, one that can see out a little bit farther, but in order to do that, its resolution is a little bit lower. So it looks more blobby here and less discrete, as we were seeing on the the regional model we were looking at. So this is Sunday morning. We've got the morning rain going through. You can see this big pocket in North Dakota of some dry weather. In storm systems, we call the dry slot, where we get drier air punching in, and we kind of get a break between that first round moving in and then the second one. So let's move on into Sunday afternoon and into the evening hours. You can see, you know, it's fairly quiet, but there's more activity out to the west. This is 7 o'clock Sunday evening. And here's what I wanted to show you. Again, we've got some okay conditions here in the valley, but if you are heading westward, look at all this blue on the map in eastern parts of Montana and in western North Dakota. This model is showing that we have the potential for snow. What's happening is I don't have our fronts and our low drawn on here, but what happens around a low is you can see that we've got the rain here, we've got motion that's counterclockwise around the low. And so as this low moves to the east, we're starting to get the motion coming in from the north, and that's cooler air moving in, and that wraparound air and precip cools down, and we oftentimes, once we get into the colder season, if we're going to see a transition to snow, that's where it will be, on the back side of the low, where that colder air is starting to punch in. And so if you're out in Williston, in the Glasgow area, the Plentywood area in Montana, that's where, if we do see any snow, and this is not a guarantee that we will see any in the region. Again, I want to stress the valley's looking pretty quiet at this point as far as that's concerned. But if we do see it, that's where it will more likely be with this particular storm. And so let's just move ahead a little bit more here, heading into the late night and then pushing into the overnight hours and into Monday morning. And I'm going to pause here. This model does inch in. This is 7 a.m. on Monday with that, again, that wraparound precip going around the low. It does indicate that some of our very northwestern corner of our viewing area could potentially see a few flakes stretching back to Minot as well. This is the American model. The European model doesn't quite go that far east. It's not showing it moving into places north and west of Devil's Lake. So again, this is not a forecast I would say, okay, that's exactly happening here. This is just talking about the potential, the possibility. One model is showing this, but not all of them are. So something to keep in mind. And I just think it's, something to talk about in the sense that, we're now starting to see this show up in our models regardless of whether it happens or not. We're getting into that season, that time of year, where we're looking out for this at this point in time. So this is something we'll watch closely heading into Sunday night and into Monday, that potential. And you can see over to the east, there is that possibility we'll get some rain going on there too into Sunday night. So here we go, talking about the S word. We've been joking about that all day long today, bringing up that word snow. I just don't want anybody to panic and start to think, oh my gosh, we've got a snowstorm coming. That's not the case right now. It looks like just that there's a potential that some of that rain might mix over to snow for a brief period of time. Ground's very warm this time of year. And again, a lot of our models keeping it out west toward the Williston area with this system. But it's something to note, and it's something to keep our eyes on, and we'll be tracking that for you and keeping you up to date on how our models are handling it as we get closer and closer to Sunday night. So here we go, looking at rain or precip potential through Monday morning. You can see that here in the valley, the focus is going to be more along the Red River, eastern North Dakota, and then back over into Minnesota for the potential for more rain. We're looking out for, with some of those downpours that move through overnight Saturday night and into early Sunday, being in that 1/2 inch to 1 inch range, and maybe a pocket or two that gets a little bit more than that. So some decent moisture going on for some of us, but just want to stress again out to the west that there may not be much happening there. So it's another situation where there are the haves and the have-nots happening here with this particular round. But we'll all get in on the wind. That's the thing with this one. It's going to be a deeper low. We're looking at that wind moving in and really taking over. So starting off Friday morning, a little bit of a breeze, but you can see by Friday evening, it's really quiet. This is our wind gust planner, by the way. So the numbers on the map here are your gusts. And so looking at Saturday morning, here comes the wind field. It starts to move east with the low that is approaching. And so Saturday morning, we're already gusting into some 20s to 30 miles per hour. So in the valley, stronger into central and western North Dakota. And then moving on into Saturday night, more of us get in on those wind gusts getting into the 30s. Notice the wind arrows here. This is the direction of the wind, still coming in out of the south or southeast. So we still got that warm air feeding into this system. And that's going to help to trigger some rain showers or some thunder showers overnight. And it may get a bit windy here heading into the overnight hours and into Sunday morning. You can see some gusts into that 40+ mile per hour range. So windy weather with this initial push. And then once, remember I mentioned that dry slot, that dry pocket, once that moves through, I'm not saying that the wind is going to suddenly ease up. It's not. It's going to be windy all day, but the intensity might come down for a little bit before the cold front approaches heading into Sunday night and into Monday morning. You can see those wind gusts picking right back up into the 40s for us for Monday morning, Sunday night into Monday morning again. So again, it's going to be windy for a lot of folks this weekend, coming up for especially Saturday night and into Sunday. That's going to be the overall thing that affects all of us with this, stronger storm system that is going to be making its way through. Then on top of that is that chance for some rain for most of us, seeing that possibility with the heavier rain coming down overnight Saturday and into early Sunday. And then, of course, there's that little star I had on our first graphic. We'll be looking up for some flakes on the radar to our west, to our neighbors to the west, over toward the Williston area. It's looking like right now, Sunday night and heading into Monday. But somewhere in North Dakota could see our first flake or two with this system. So again, a powerful one, bringing about some change coming up here for this weekend. Let's take a look at our weekend planner around the region. For Saturday, most of the daytime hours, this is looking at the afternoon hours. So Saturday, most of us staying dry still at that point. And we're looking at some wind going on at that point. You can see especially north and west, Devil's Lake, Jamestown, Grand Forks, and temperatures mid-50s to some low 70s coming up for Saturday. And then heading into Sunday, everybody's got a shot of rain here. And we're also dealing with the wind on Sunday too. Temperatures before the front moves through, it's not going to be till later Sunday night. So temperatures will still be fairly mild into the 60s to about 70 on Sunday. It's Sunday night. and into early Monday when the cold front moves through and cools us down a little bit. Not a huge drop in temperatures, at least it's looking like right now, but seeing that change happening here. So again, first alert weather day. We're talking overnight Saturday night and into Sunday. So leading up to that, in our extended planner here, you can see today breezy, mild. Tomorrow, a little bit cooler. Our morning temperatures step back a bit, so today was nice to get a break from the frost and the freeze. Tomorrow could get a little frosty in some spots, upper 30s to low 40s for a lot of spots on Friday morning. And then in the afternoon, more into the 60s. Saturday, again, getting windy, watching out for that chance for a little thunderstorm or two happening late on Saturday night. Again, could move in as early as the afternoon. Possibility we might see one or two isolated storms in the afternoon. And then on Sunday, blustery with rain on our first alert weather day. It's going to be windy throughout the day. And again, looking at wind and rain, not really the most comfortable combo. So I want you to be ready for that as you are making your Sunday plans. Driving on Sunday, you're going to be running into some wind on the road as well. Once that clears out, we start to see conditions take a break on Monday, and then a reminder heading into next week. Starting Tuesday, Wednesday, even into Thursday, there is the potential for that next system that will be more toward the southern valley. Both will have impacts on the entire valley, but this weekend system, the low is going to be passing more for the northern valley. The one for next week right now at least looks like southern valley may see some of the strongest winds, so that'll be the next one to watch coming up here. But we just want you to be ready. I don't want to scare anybody by saying some of the powerful terms for the storm, but it really is going to be a more intense storm than what we've seen recently. We're talking stronger winds just in general and some rain. And in addition to that, you know, that potential for flakes and flurries, not something to be alarmed over. It's just to give you a heads up because we haven't seen that yet this season. And, you know, we know October can be a time. And right now it doesn't look like most of the valley is under threat for that. You know, if you're in the Devil's Lake area, you might want to keep an eye on things heading into Sunday night and early Monday. But as of right now, it looks like it's to the north and west. But our neighbors and friends in western North Dakota, especially northwestern North Dakota, may see some impacts with at least maybe some flying flakes and maybe not necessarily sticking with the ground very warm this time of year. So again, looking out for our next system, we've got first alert weather day for Sunday, Saturday night and into Sunday coming up for this weekend. And we'll, of course, continue to keep you updated on what to expect as we get closer, as we continue on into the weekend. So enjoy the calm before the storm, both literally and figuratively, as we're talking about this next round moving in. And just know that it is a little breezy out there today too, but that will start to ease up as we head into this evening. And again, Russ will be back here this afternoon talking about what to expect, checking in on those forecast models, and then I'll be back again tomorrow to bring you an update on what we're looking at for the weekend. Have a great Thursday.